Question 2 on rearrangement. Students find it hard to rearrange equations. So what I'm going to do, I'll try to make it as simple as possible. The equation given is volume of that cone equals 1/3 pi x squared times the height. Now, what I'm going to do, I'll simply rewrite the thing so that the student find it easier to understand. So pi x squared times h over 3 is exactly the same thing as 1/3 pi x squared h. That makes it, this one I think makes it a little bit easier for the students to comprehend. Now, one other thing we must be clear, actually, what are the relationship of pi with respect to h. Pi is multiplied with h, x squared is multiplied with h, and h is divided by 3. These are some of the things we need to understand. Now, one other thing I have been talking in the classroom is I started calling it anchoring h, because we got to make h the subject of the formula. So I anchor it, I fix it. I'm not going to move it. I'll leave it on the right hand side of this equal sign. And so h divided by 3. So if I shift it to this side, it'll be v times 3. 3 times v, number comes before the letter. That's the convention. Should be equal to pi x squared h. Nice and simple now. Fractions are eliminated, which makes our life easier. Now, remember, this is anchored. We are not going to touch it. Pi is multiplied with h. So if I shift pi to the left-hand side of equal sign, it'll be 3 times v over pi. That means I divided 3v by pi, and that will give me x squared times h. Now, we do not want x squared times h. We simply want h, and that is anchored. Remember, this is fixed, right? So x squared times h, and so h will be equal to 3v, divide that by pi, and you got to divide that by x squared, right? So now, well, it's not going to make any difference if I shift h left hand side and I flip over all this stuff to this side. Nothing is going to change. And that is exactly the rearranged formula. Now, one other thing, if we want to get the numerical value when x is 3, find the height of Peter's container when x is 3 and the volume is 66. So we got to substitute all these numbers. 3 times 66, all in centimeter and cubic centimeters, and then I got to divide it by pi, which is already a fixed number, times it by x squared, which is 3 to the power 2 or 3 times 3. Now we can go for cancellation. This is how we cancel it. So 3 divided by 3 gives you 1. 3 divided by 3 gives you 1. And we are left with 66 over pi times 3. Now 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 66 22 times. And final answer is 22 over pi. One other thing I learned, pi is pretty close to 22 over 7. Well, so far I remember, if I'm not wrong, it's I think the Chinese, they tried to find out some sort of value of pi, and 22 over 7 is pretty close. So if I divide 22 by 22 over 7, that is a fraction. That makes it harder for the students. 22 times, if you go for the reciprocal, 7 over 22, I think the answer is 7. 7 what? We are talking about height, so it'll be 7 centimeters. I'll stop there.